Oh my goodness.
Hey, what's up?
Well, not much. So I got to share this story with the 20 people watching. But yesterday I dreamed it was Friday and I was sleeping in, and I, in my dream, slept through Burke learns Blazor. And then I woke up in a panic, ran to my office, and realized it was Thursday.
I just like that you're like me and you're still sleeping at 9:30.
Well, so my kid is still in school, and she just finished she went on break yesterday. She tries to wake up early and can't do it. And so I hear her alarm. She doesn't hear her alarm. She keeps sleeping through it. So I'm like waking up at like super early when her alarm goes off, and then it keeps snoozing. So anyhow, I fall back asleep. So my sleep is all over the place. Tomorrow's the first day I will actually sleep in.
I feel like you should just do something about the alarm and you could solve the root cause. Merry Christmas,
efforts are
David.
Fit. Yeah.
Thanks for being here. Actually, John and I are both on vacation right now. We're not supposed to, but I asked John, I texted him earlier this week and I was like, you want to stream on Friday? And he's like, hold on, I'm at the grocery store. Let me ask my wife what the plans are. I'll get back to you. I just thought it was great that you're on Teams at the grocery store. It's
on my phone, you know.
Yeah. Where's your work-life balance, man?
I like monitor stuff. I don't respond normally. Only high priority.
The pandemic project.
Goodness. Wow. Okay.
Whoa. Man, you sat through a lot then, because in the beginning we used to jump on here and try to figure things out, and then we wised up. We were like, we should figure out beforehand and mostly know what we're gonna do.
Yeah. So it's a balance, right? We do some live stuff, but we try and get our act together because it's hard to figure everything out live. You know, I feel like this is a lesson I learned before on live streaming and forgot about it. You can live stream something you kind of know the general idea. You can, but we're like learning from scratch on a lot of this stuff. So
true. Yeah.
It is raining here in California. I don't even know what's happening. It's raining right now.
Is it not rain? It rains in San Francisco. I've been there.
San Francisco, yeah, but California, San Diego, no.
No.
San Diego, rare. Yeah.
San Diego.
Yeah,
we learned.
Go ahead. Well, I was just going to say this pandemic project, I'd be interested to hear like what things you ran into, what you're building, all that kind of stuff. Because yeah, it's, you know, so our background, which you probably saw there, but Burke's done a lot of front end dev. He's done some .NET, but not as much lately. And then I do .NET dev, but I really haven't done like I haven't done front end apps as much. And my kind of wheelhouse is like MVC, Razor Pages, and then kind of lightweight front, you know, like just HTML, CSS for the front end. So this has been really interesting for both of us. Yeah, a lot of good stuff.
All right. I feel like we should have some. Let me stop I feel like we should have some Christmas music. So hold on.
Okay.
Let me share my screen and we'll turn on the audio and share this. All right.
All right.
And then what's the stream meets stream? There he is. Harris Teller.
Was it you that was telling me about this? Somebody like just makes tons of money by like they commissioned a bunch of people and made stream beats and stuff.
I know that a lot of people have made a lot of money doing like sounds of rain and ocean for sleeping. You like on Spotify and Apple Music, and I actually subscribe to one of these services. It's like $60 a year, and it's like 8 hours of, and I mean, there's just hundreds of sounds. And man, that is an easy way,
right?
To make quite a bit of coin.
This is interesting. It recently started a local .NET shop here in Nebraska. Did a lot of front-end JavaScript before. Interested in Blazor in the years past. Yeah. Oh, XNA. That brings back memories. Yeah, it's interesting because this is a way of doing Blazor. Doing Blazor in .NET 8. I'm like really interested in all the newer Blazor stuff. Oh yeah, you got to hide the little thing at the bottom that says.
Oh yeah, sorry, hide.
Hey Peggy.
All right, let's talk about what we're gonna do today.
Okay.
What we're gonna do, is we are going to implement a global HTTP handler, and I'll show you why. So this is the application as it currently is deployed. This is not the version that we're working on. This is the deployed version.
This is what we're trying to build.
Right, written in Vue and TypeScript. So you see this bar that's going across the top? Does everybody see that real quick? Let me see if you watch the top of the screen, you'll see. So that's so annoying. See that bar? You see a little status bar?
Yeah.
And so what that status bar does is it just shows you that the application's doing something. And that's because we're getting open after you submit the link, we're getting open graph information. And so you might do, like, if you were fast, you might, right? And so you could have a bunch of requests running at one time.
It stacks them all up. Yep.
Right, exactly. And you can see this is kind of broken because it should have given us back open graph information for these, and it didn't. So this app is kind of broken as it is. So we're going to add that status bar, and the way that the status bar has to work is that it needs to be visible as long as the application is doing something. And by doing something, we mean talking to the API. And it may have a bunch of things queued up, right? So if you queue up 5 open graph requests, it's just going to fire them off asynchronously, and it needs to show that status bar until there are none left. So that's what we're going to try to handle today.
Okay.
And we can argue about if I'm doing this right or wrong.
Well, yeah, and honestly, we don't, because we did go back and forth on this a few different ways, and I think you've got a good solution. Although, yeah, it seems like there are different ways to do it, because you're handling it. Your plan is to handle this in the state container.
In a state container, yeah.
A state
so
container.
We're going to create a new state container that doesn't do anything but make HTTP requests and have a single property that the status bar binds to. That's it. That's all it's going to do.
And I had tried doing this before in Open Graph and gave up because I was naively, I just added it directly into the main state container. And there's some really interesting stuff, interesting for various values of interesting, but it's the state container now is a singleton. And wait, yes, and
it's right here.
Service is scoped, and so there's like you're not supposed to cross the streams with that. You solved it by creating a new
state container, right?
That is singleton as well.
Correct.
Which makes some sense for a long running request like this, kind of.
And we'll see, right? Like there's 2 tricky things. One of them is that the HTTP client does not really provide a way for you to just override all requests and do something every time there's a request, just globally. You just can't.
Well,
right?
So you kind of can using but it's, see, my framework for learning all this stuff, again, was like server side. There is an HTTP factory, and you can there's a global HTTP factory, and you can tell it like every time this is the base address I want to use. This is you can create typed clients. There's all this stuff, but it's been a little bit since I've built with it. That was something they added in .NET Core, I think 3, which is kind of neat. But for what you're trying to do, saying like count requests, let me know how many are open, all that. Okay, this blows my mind every time I see this.
Because the other app is written in a CSS compiler or Sass, because that's what you do when you work in the front end.
Okay.
Things.
Hey.
Did it actually change anything though? I actually don't think it did anything. It didn't do anything. It just like
it took a line away.
It took some lines away because it actually wasn't. It wasn't
actually doing much Sass. All right.
It wasn't doing any Sass.
Hello, fool Snabble. I always wonder if I want to pronounce this like Schnabble or something, but it is incorrect, I believe. And then Burke. Now we can be told apart with the glasses. But here, this is one. What is the difference between Singleton and scoped in this context? And this, honestly, I'm going to probably say something wrong. But normally, a Singleton runs once for the entire app. Like the first time you use it, there's only one of them ever. And if you're doing, say, a server-side app where you have short-running requests and a long-running app, you would put stuff in the Singleton that is going to be global for all users and just going to stay around the whole time. So you don't want, and then a Singleton or scoped. A scoped is something where you would do like a scoped request is per request. So like that's where like something fires up, like, so that's something where you would do per like user specific, for instance, or something that's very short-lived and you're going to throw it away. Where my mind starts to fall apart, though, is with these front-end apps where the request is long-running too, right? So because the user is navigating between pages, but the app stays there. So I honestly, all my intuition is pretty wrong about this stuff. Okay, so some other things. Burke, I don't know. We got a question on HTMX before. How does Blazor compare to HTMX? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, you want to? You want me to take it or you want to do it?
I mean, I think you might know more about it than me. Let me try and stumble through it and then you can correct me. But HTMX is a JavaScript library that adds like behaviors that are in HTML. So you kind of sort of similar, like very low key similar to like how Tailwind works. You add attributes to HTML components and they wire stuff up to like requests and responses and stuff.
Yeah, basically you put an attribute on a div that says call this URL to get the contents of this div. And then the server returns HTML. Instead of doing it with JavaScript, you're returning chunks of HTML from the server.
Okay.
So it's
Yep.
I think it's very interesting. I tried to build something with it though, and I felt like at some point I really needed JavaScript, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to use JavaScript. At this point, I feel like I'm working against myself. But that doesn't mean it's probably because I'm just doing it wrong. Okay, because that's how it usually is. By the way, John, now I'll bring everybody up to speed on what I'm doing here is once you start the API and the client, I've added this config file. So now all you have to do is swa start for the emulator. You don't have to pass anything.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got that configured.
So what I've done, chat, is I've added this progress bar component, which is it's just a div, and the CSS, which is where this makes all the magic happen. And Bulma doesn't have a progress bar, and so
surprising.
Yeah, and so but I think there's like people do these contributions. I forget what they call them, add-ins or something, mix-ins. Anyway, somebody made this one. I'm just copying in their work. I did not write this. If you know anything about me by now, it's that I don't know what I'm doing. So I certainly couldn't do that. Okay, let's fire this puppy up. So we should be able to just do this. And all I've done is I've added it to the main layout, right? And that way it will appear on Where the hell's the main layout? There it is. It will appear on literally every page.
Okay.
It's just global. It's always there.
Let me share a crazy idea that I had, and it's probably wrong, but it was an idea. What I was thinking, another approach you could take was actually handle the HTTP stuff from that component. I don't know if
all the HTTP stuff.
Yeah. So meaning that div you just created, that could be a Blazor component, and that Blazor component could have an HTTP client, and then it could expose it as a parameter. So anyone else that wants to use it would just say like, yeah, hey component, go make this request, or hey component, give me an HTTP client, and then it passes them out. Now that's maybe bad for a lot of reasons. I don't know. I just was like, what would it be like to have a component actually handle stuff?
Yeah, that is an interesting solution. I'm not against that.
I mean, a container also makes a lot of sense too. So I'm not.
So here's our progress bar. Why isn't it showing? Have the classes go here. Display. Oh, because by default it isn't displayed. All right. So if we take this off, it should. Here it is. See it?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like doing its thing. Let me see. What did I do here? Let me just check my notes, chat. Doop. We'll go back and fix the animation here in a second. There was a good reason why it wasn't doing its thing. Let's see here. Let me go back and tweak. So let's put display none back. All right. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to show and hide this progress bar whenever there is an HTTP request that is in progress. And so the way that I did this, here's how I did this. I created a new state container, as John said.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did it like this, and I just called it HTTP container. Yeah. And what's great about these injected classes is that there's nothing special about them, right? Like they're just classes, which I really like, right? There's not a lot to get confused about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's not some crazy pattern where you're like, I don't know what's happening here.
You know, that's the trade-off of classes, right? Sometimes with C# compared to like JavaScript or whatever, sometimes it can feel like a little bit extra because everything's a class. And sometimes in JavaScript, you're like, I don't need a whole class. But that is one nice thing. When you do need a class, it's a class. You know, they're all classes. Everything's built on classes.
That's true. And the static ones in Blazor are really nice because you just inject it and use it, right? Like it's just the state container pattern. It's very, very simple and very easy to use. So like Copilot like knows what I'm trying to do here, and it's trying to help. It's close actually, but not exactly right. So what we want to do here is, so we have the class, so no Copilot, thank you. So let's inject this class. What I did here, all I did was add a second state container, which is just the HTTP container, right? That's it. That's it. That's all the magic in terms of making it something that we can use from any component, which is, I think that's such a cool thing. All right. Yeah. So now in our HTTP container.
Let me ask one thing that I saw with that. The other one had a default for the base if it's not found.
A default for the base?
Your code is slightly different where it says, see line 9 where it says,
yeah, the base address. Yeah. So we're going to handle that a little differently. Okay. I actually tried to add this as a scoped service and couldn't figure it out. And then secondly, I need the progress bar to be able to bind to a property on that state container. So I needed it as a state container.
But I'm wondering, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Okay. So back in our HTTP container, the first thing that we want to do here is we want to create an HTTP client. Right. So let's do, and this syntax is still wonky to me. So HTTP client equals new HTTP client. And then what I did was so here's how I did this. Oh, I know why this is. I passed in, I have a constructor for this thing. Let's see here. Yeah, this is how I did this. So I did, no, Copilot, let me do it. Private read-only HTTP client. Give it, no, close. Not like it matters, but you get the idea. Thank you. And then we're gonna store. I tell you what, let's skip over that. Let's just keep going for a second here. And then we have a constructor here, but this is kind of right, so we'll take this and modify it. And in our constructor, we're gonna bring in a system.uri here, and this is where we're gonna define the base address, right? Just like this. Yeah, that's right. Now, where does this come from? I think, give me a second here, I'll scroll through my notes. That'd be an easier way to look through your stuff from the past. And what did I do here? Interesting. That's really interesting. So what I lied.
Yeah.
I didn't quite do this. I did this. So inside this HTTP container where it gets newed up here, I guess we're newing it up. So we're adding the singleton, and then I said, I don't remember why I did this, but I'm passing in the base address basically exactly like we're doing above.
Sure.
That's right.
Okay. And I like that because then that pulls in because that does some magic stuff where if the prefix is set, it uses it, otherwise it uses the base. Okay.
That's exactly right. Yeah, we need this for like development versus production and all of that. It's an important configuration point for everything to just keep working. Okay. So now we have this HTTP client, and what we want to do, chat, what I wanted to do was abstract away all of the different methods that we might want to perform against an API. And so those are a get, put, post, and delete. We're not going to try to do anything other than that. And all of those are going to return JSON because the API is JSON. Right, John? I'm thinking out loud here, kind of. There's never a scenario in which we're not going to do one of those things.
So I do have a question. Do you still need to do this base address in the constructor? Because that's being set in the
I believe so, right? Because it's being set here.
Otherwise,
it doesn't have a constructor.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I want to do here is I'm going to start off. This isn't going to make a whole lot of sense to start off with, but hopefully it'll clear up. So outside of this, what I want to do is I want to create a generic task that will just execute whatever I give it. So what I'm going to do is create an async task of a generic type, and then let's just call it execute. And then what I'm going to do here is that's exactly what I want to do, although I called it action. So what we're doing here's what's happening. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pass a Lambda expression to this function. So basically, chat, I'm creating a function that I can pass a function to and have it execute that function. The reason why I'm doing this is because every time an HTTP request occurs, we need to increment a counter. And when the request is done or it errors out or whatever, we decrement the counter. And the status bar will show up as long as that counter is greater than 0. That's it. That's all the logic there. So
there's a few people saying here, and I was trying to say this earlier, but I think I said it wrong, about like, I think you don't need to new up a constructor there. You can just DI it in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I actually don't need this.
Yeah, you need Okay, so back on the thing, instead you could have it take an HTTP client as a parameter on the constructor. So, okay, so edit that, and instead of, so on line 5, say HTTP client, whatever, yeah. And then you can get rid of the, yep. And then, yeah, exactly what it's recommending to do. Yeah.
But if we go to program, it's going to be all wacky. Where does this come from?
Yeah, get rid of, like, let it fix it for you. I mean, I don't want to throw you off. We could.
Is that right?
Tweak this later, but that's not right.
What else does it recommend? What does the C# dev kit recommends? Using dependency injection? See, this is where I'm just out of my.
Let's go back to what you had. I don't want to throw you off.
Okay.
I could do a pull request on it later. That was the direction I went down before, though. On that was like passing down a the like recommended way is you DIN your client, but then you do kind of cross the streams with that's where you get the static and singleton thing mixed up. So yeah, keep do what you're doing.
Keep going. Okay. So let's create this property that's gonna hold a value of greater than it's basically just gonna hold the value of the number of requests that are currently active. And I just called it a for lack of a better name, because the hardest things in computer science are naming things and cache invalidation and off by one errors. Do you remember when Jeff Atwood I think it was Jeff Atwood made that joke where the two hardest things in computer science are cache invalidation, naming things, and off by one errors? You ever heard that joke before?
Yeah, I bet Jeff quoted it. I forget who actually said it originally. Hey,
I laughed so hard the first time I heard that. Very nerdy, but Pat, you know that joke?
It is a good joke.
Right, so here we're just creating like the necessary. That's right. And we want to do the notify state changed. What is this? Public int. We want to call this request queue, I believe. All right. All right. We want to do like the normal state container stuff down here at the bottom, which is like add the state change stuff. Let's see if it knows. It does not know. Public event. Action on change. That's right. It's getting good at C#, man. Does it know notify state changed? Yes, it does. All right. Thank you, Copilot. See how it's getting better with C#?
Yeah.
See that? All right.
Well,
so
and
here,
also, I mean, yes, and also you've got a lot of patterns open in your tabs that show this exact thing, right? Like it's got a lot of context in this app now that it can work off of.
All right, so like I said, we're going to increment the queue, and then we're going to decrement. See, look at that. That's how Copilot makes you faster. Is it just guesses what you want next? You just like tab, yes. This is essentially what we want to do, and then what we're going to do is just call this thing every time we have an HTTP request, so we can start implementing these things. Now, what I also did here is I return a generic response from the HTTP container. And the reason why I want to do that is sometimes in the application, you need to know the status code, and sometimes you just want the JSON object, and sometimes you want both. It depends on what you're trying to do, right? Mm-hmm. Like, for instance, when we're trying to create a new bundle title, Vanity, we need to know if it's a 404. That's how we know that the Vanity is available. And then other times, of course, we want the JSON. And so we have two options here from this container. We could return the HTTP response and let the components handle it and parse it. Or, what we could do is parse the JSON for the component into the type passed, and send that back along with the HTTP status code, which is what I chose to do, right? Because so instead of parsing JSON all over the app, we're just parsing it once here.
You know, it's funny. This is you called it an HTTP container, but it's like an HTTP service at this point, right?
It really is. It's much more like a service, but we're calling it a container. But I call this a container response. And like the generic stuff in C# just blows my mind, man, because basically can on the fly construct responses that contain different types, which for JSON parsing is crazy because it feels just like JavaScript in that regard. All right, so what we're gonna do here is have a status code. We're gonna return a status code, right? Where are you? There we go. Get set. That's fine. And then the other thing that we want to do is we want to return the body, which is going to be JSON. We can call it data. I called it body. That's fine. And what does it want here? I probably need to import something. Yeah. Okay. And then we need a constructor here to get our response. Does it know what I want to do? Yes, kind of. It's not exactly what I want to do here. What I want to do is, that'll work. Data equals data, status code equals status code. Okay, so that's what we need. This is whenever a component calls one of our methods inside the container, which we haven't defined any methods for it to call yet, this is what it will get back, is this right here. So inside of our container, let's start adding, okay, so here's the other thing. You can't have an async constructor, so we actually have to use, the workaround that I have for this is to do something like this. A container response, right, of type T, here we go. And then I just called it create async. And this was actually Copilot's. It said, this is a common pattern. I have no idea if it's a common pattern or not. This is where it starts to get super interesting. So what we want to do here when we actually create this response is first, we're going to set this type to a default type. We don't get a null exception. And then we're going to look at the response content, right? And if it's not equal to null, then we're going to try to do something with it. We're going to try to parse it. So var content, read content as string async, that's right. So I want part of this. Let's get part of this. And then what I want to do after that is I want to check and see if content isn't null or empty. And then this is close, but not quite. And then what I want to do is say data equals JSON serializer. Is that right? Deserialize? Nah, kind of. Let's go all the way to here. Our content. And then what we're going to do here is say, if not, we're going to pass, this is weird, passing content, or we're just going to give it a default like this. And then let's put this back. Are we clear on what's happening? Do I need to explain this, or is this?
I think it makes sense. You're basically like creating a centralized generic JSON deserializer.
Yes, that's exactly right. And it's serializing to the type I give it, right? So like when we call the HTTP container, you'll call like a get, and you'll say it's a get of type link bundle. And what this does is it just parses it into that type.
Okay.
For you. Yeah.
So question here, would you want to parse before checking if it's a success? Well, at this point, you're just dealing with the response, right? So you're not necessarily even going to, you're going to call this after you've checked the request. Hey, it is C# Fritz in the house.
No way. Yeah, I don't know if the checking is perfect. I think this could actually be improved. But I'm going to leave it like it is for now because I know that it works. But I think that this isn't exactly right. There are some cases where this is going to blow up.
Yes, this is VS Code, by the way. Good question.
All right.
VS Code, C# dev kit for the win.
So it seems like a lot of wiring here, but what we're going to do now is we're going to start creating our methods that we're going to call. So let's see if Copilot knows exactly what we want to do. Kind of. This is kind of what we want to do. So let me see here. Let's do this. So we're going to do public async task, HTTP container response, kind of. And then let's do here. I just want to call it a get. Call it get async or get. I would guess async is better because it's.
I guess so, right?
Yeah. And then in this case, all we need to do is pass the URL, right? Or request URL is fine too. And then is the rest of this right? Let's see here. Double checking. No.
Question here.
So, yeah.
Do you want that to take a string or a URI?
A string.
Okay.
We just passed a string. It could take a URI though. It could.
I've gone back and forth on that because you can put the type checking. You can put the URI checking on the creator or here.
So this is how I did it. First, I get the HTTP response method, and then I return container response, passing in the response method, right? And then we just like do this over and over for each of the different types. See, let's see if we can get it now. So
wait, question here though. Yeah. Do you want to add some error checking? Like for instance, response message before line 50. The reason I'm asking is before you copy paste. Between line 55 and 56, do you want to check if it's a response is a success?
Well, we're doing this here, although I'm just throwing. I don't know exactly what to do with it.
Okay.
So if we did it here, what would we add?
Put a comment after line 55 and say check if success, and then let Copilot do the thing.
Oh, after 55?
Yeah. It's not doing a thing.
No, it said no. I could always ask it and be like,
yeah.
It just wraps it. I think we should come back and add some better error handling here, but let's add the rest of our methods. So we've got, man, I cannot see a freaking thing today, y'all.
Yeah. So Chuck's got some questions, and this is something that we can dig into more as we, like once we get it working. Saying, how do you manage socket exhaustion avoidance? This is per client, so we're not as worried about that. This is something I was stressing about more earlier, but since this is a front-end app, it is per user. So it's, in other words, I can spam it and maybe screw up my instance, but it's not going to affect anyone else, right? Like I stress about this because I'm thinking about like a server-side app, and you really have to manage your clients, but yeah. And that is true. DI takes care of it. Okay.
All right, can you get, I think that's right for the put. We got the put, now it gets the
We're
pattern.
not actually using put at all though, are we?
Oh, we're not, but in case we want to, yeah. Delete async. That's right. Okay, so this is pretty much done. On the execute
okay, there's
function,
some error things show, or not errors, warnings.
Right. This is what we want here. So the reason why I like this pattern is because this is what you do in JavaScript, right? If you want a single method that does something like increment and decrement, that's all this method is really doing, and we're just passing it which one of these we want it to execute. So it increments, execute the method that we give it, and then decrements. Which is exactly what you would do in JavaScript.
This seems very JavaScripty to me.
Yes, it's very dynamic, right?
Yeah.
Everything. Hold on. I know people are probably like, at this point, they're probably like, this guy is off the rails. I am. I apologize. Let me see. I think that's everything we need, though.
Yeah, the discussion here is about, and I think it's fine, honestly. Like the concern is over like how are we creating the HTTP client and stuff, and I think that it doesn't matter as much with the front end app, and I forget how we're creating it here at this point. If we're DIing
it's created here when it gets injected.
Okay, so it is using DI. Yeah. No, we're creating your HTTP client itself, though, is in the constructor.
It's right here.
Yeah, you're newing it up here.
Yeah, I'm newing it up.
But yeah.
But it's happening on the client. It's not actually happening on the server. So I don't believe that there's any issues here.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's unlikely we'll hit an issue because of its client side. So the worst that happens is someone's going to mash their thing and like, one other thing I've run into.
But it's only going to get created once, right? It's a singleton, so it only gets created one time.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So each one owns its own. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So exactly. This is you can tell everyone's like background. This is here. If it was a server app, someone never closed their browser, etc. But this is client side. It doesn't really matter. So, okay.
I don't exactly understand the server side concern here.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that? What would happen?
Okay.
Tell me what would happen. Yeah.
This was a whole thing in ASP.NET land back in the early days, and they really moved to this HTTP client factory where you DI it in, and it handles the creating multiple clients and the clients like interfering with each other and all this stuff. I think that it really is the lines get a lot more blurry when it's a client-side app and things are long running, and you've got a singleton here that's managing its client instance. So it's
if there's a better way to do the DI here, I'm all for it, right? Like what I don't want to do is create patterns that people look at and are like, oh, I'm going to put that in my app. And then maybe they're doing a server-side app and it causes them all sorts of grief that they can't figure out. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say I tried to do it the way I would do it on a server side, where I used the scoped HTTP client in the singleton state container, and that did not work. So I think let's continue with what you've got, because you actually have a decent amount. You still need to
we still need to do it. Yeah. Okay, so let's go use this thing, see if it works. The first place we use this is here when we get the client principal. So just as a reminder, this is where login happens. When the application's loaded, we check to see, we call this endpoint, which is part of static web apps. Mm-hmm. And if they are logged in, right, if their cookie is active, it gives us back their details, the identity provider. Basically, it tells us they're logged in. Otherwise, it'll just send us null, which means they're either not logged in or their credentials are expired and they got to log in. That's how we handle that. Let's do something here and try to use this, and we'll see whether or not this is working very well. So in our main layout, what we want to do here is change this up a little bit. So I like this abstraction of having this in its own method. I don't think I had originally with the sum. All right, so let's do this. So we're going to use our new state container, which means we need to inject it. can't spell container. I can do it. And then here, I need to modify this a little bit to be, what are we going to do? Yeah, get client principal async. Is that right?
Yeah, it's
it's not right. It's like this. It's like this. It's get async, and then we pass in this client's principal.
Yeah, I think it's got it from there. Oh.
Kind of. It almost has.
Oh.
Then that's what we want. All right. Then
you can delete a bunch.
Let's do this. Second, the C# dev kit has got to fix this, right? This is not. It's like this down here.
Yeah.
Okay. This is C# dev kit. Pay attention. All right, and then we're gonna check, and we're gonna see if the result.
Yeah, it was answering it for you.
That data
Oh.
got client principal. Do you see the magic?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? Equal to null. Right? And we're just going to return. I like to do this to be very specific, right?
Mm-hmm.
The client principal is null. This is where a comment is good. They're not logged in, right? And it's easy and we're just out, right? Like that's the simplest if statement you can write.
Yeah.
What does it want here? We got some nullability.
So, yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, okay. And then otherwise, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set the state container user equals, and we're gonna create a new user and we're gonna pass in that client principal. Exactly what we were doing before.
Mm-hmm.
And I still can't spell state container.
No.
At all. I'm a mess. And then the last thing you want to do is we want to set our logged in to true, because this is how the nav bar knows that we're logged in. And then we're just going to say state has changed because we're in an async method here, and so we need to update. Oh, that's it.
That's nice.
How clean that is.
I like how that cleans out, it abstracts out all your HTTP client handling stuff out of the thing. So
it's awesome.
It does simplify
Just chat. What do you think? Chat. Tell me that I'm good at things and I'm smart, or I'm not. Say the opposite. I want to know that chat approves.
Here, wait. I don't have here. All I have is this.
What does it say? Hold on, I got to get back to the.
Oh no, I'm just doing it. It's exploding. It's fire. But that can mean it's fire, or it can mean it's
It's all gonna blow up.
It's exploding. It can be either. Comments.
All right, let me find my progress bar component. No. Okay. So here, let's go to our progress bar, and in the progress bar, we've got this div here, and what we need to do is add a class if this thing is active. And so let's write some code. I like how it's just code, right?
Yeah.
Protected override. Why do I need it? Oh, it's because we're gonna look at on initialized.
There
Does
you
it
go.
know what I want to do? It does not know. This is not right. What I do want to do though is inject HTTP container. And then all we have to do is bind to that request property. Oh no, this is where we're gonna get. This is how, and this took me a while to figure out, but we're gonna do this business. No, state. Come on, Copilot. Not once have we written that code. And then, so we have to have this. If I don't have this, what will happen is the value of that request queue will go up and down, and this progress bar will not know anything about it. It won't see the change. And to be honest, John, I still don't fully understand why some changes are seen immediately reflected in the UI and some are just not. just don't understand.
Yeah. I honestly don't always know. I think it has to do with how you're modifying something. If it's in a way where it can like directly observe that the state is changing, then it can flag it.
I've just taken to doing this in every component, right?
Yeah.
Because if you do this, you call state has changed, then it will update. But I don't understand why.
This is why this is the comment here. Call state has changed every second row. Now,
add a visible class.
Right? When I do counting, usually I'll hit a bug at least once where I screw up and it gets stuck in a state forever. You know what I mean? Like it's always going to be, and the progress bar never goes away. But I think you're handling exceptions. Do you have a timeout on your client?
I do not. We should put one. Let's go back. Yeah, if there's an exception here, it does this, right? So at the lowest level, when the thing actually gets executed, if there's any error, it's going to decrement the counter.
So you should be good, yeah.
But we should add some sort of like...
And on your check, do you check if it's... Another thing I've done is sometimes if I screw up on the counting, sometimes I'll get a negative count. I don't know how that could happen.
Oh, like go below 0?
Yeah, so then you get your request queue is -1, and then it doesn't equal 0. So the way I do there is if it's less than or equal to 0.
Where would we add that?
Where's your visibility thing for the progress bar?
Oh, here.
So, yeah, you've got greater than or equal to 0 visible. You're fine.
Okay.
I'm trying to distract you. You're doing well.
No, that's all right. So here though, do we want to put? Where's the kid? Where's the kid? Here, the timeout. I don't know how you do this. Timeout. 30 seconds? No, I'm saying like 10 seconds.
We could try that. I don't know if the function runs from cold start. Could it take more than 10?
Oh, I hope not.
Okay. Yeah, right.
What's wrong here? Object initialization can be simplified? How exactly is that?
Yeah, let it do that.
Whatever. I don't know that that's simplified. It seems kind of loud. Hold on.
What I like doing too, there's some comments on like I would do it this way or that way. What I like doing is get it working, and then I actually, once I've written the whole class, then I ask Copilot, can I clean this up? Or should I?
How do I clean this up?
Yeah, exactly. And that's worked really well for me lately on some things. I'll like get the code generally working, or I'll say like, what are the main errors that could happen in this class, or that sort of thing.
So we're gonna do the thing here that you're never supposed to do, which is,
oh my gosh,
we're gonna do the right, because we want to know that some action is occurring, because otherwise it's going to go real fast because our API is running locally, so the response is instantaneous.
So you're doing this just now for testing. This is not going to stay.
Yes.
All
don't do this. Do not remove the sleep. Do not do this.
Oh, Chuck has a great suggestion here.
Slow network. It's not a solution.
Here's a great thing here. Chuck's saying, which I totally agree with. As for a zero allocation approach to clean up code, so that's a big thing they've been adding in C# lately. Is a lot of ways to remove memory allocations, object allocation and stuff, and that's I've been using that sort of thing too. I appreciate that. Cool.
It compiles. Simplest form of the unit test is the compile. So do you see it?
I see loading. Okay.
It didn't actually sleep for 2 seconds though, did it?
I think it slept during the loading or something.
It must have. But you saw the green bar, and then it's gone, and then now we have.
Try adding a new thing in then.
What's that?
Try add a new link and you'll see it.
Oh. Well, we haven't updated that HTTP method.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, we have to update them all. But we do have an issue here is like, why is there no, right?
I do think that it happened on loading, I'm guessing. Because the loading seemed like it took really long.
Yes, I remember this now. So here's the problem. Here, this has to match exactly. So we need like some property name. Yeah. I mean, yes, but like here.
That's interesting.
Close. Can you get it right this time? It just wants to be it's like the identity provider. That's all you need, man. This has to be exactly right or it won't parse.
We can change some of that too, I think, setting a default on it, but okay.
Like setting the camel case or whatever?
Yeah.
Auth time.
This
is funny. This is not hard stuff. It's a decorator. You see it right below. And now y'all call them attributes, right? Not decorators.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I mean, it is a decorator, but yeah.
And then in our wrapper, we need to add this here. And that one it can do. I see. Okay. So assuming so now I'm just not logged in at all. That's weird.
It still blows my mind. I love that the local dev experience for the auth is really cool with static web app.
So it pulled in this, but it didn't get my
it didn't actually work.
It didn't get my username, which I put up there. Why is that? 1 second. This is in the nav bar, main layout. I don't think I touched the nav bar though.
This nav bar, the nav bar has to go through the auth experience though, right?
The nav bar just responds, and it's getting part of it, right? Like it got the identity provider, but that probably means that the where's the response here? On me. User details. It didn't get user details. Why not? Did I? Yeah, see?
Okay. A lot of green, looking good. Loading taking forever. Okay.
No. So now, the question is just like, do we want to continue on and refactor all of our HTTP calls, or do we want to call it here and we can go do that, in our own time?
Well, we got like a half hour left. So depending, we could refactor on our own time because I think it's a repetitive process. You also wanted to work on the my links page.
We could start that.
My list. Or if you want to refactor it too, that's fine. Another simple thing we have to do is like just some clean out. There's like the fave icon and some other stuff that's still the default Blazor.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and finish up. We've got essentially we have to do this right here.
Mm-hmm. Test of the.
Yeah. That was weird though. It's like, okay.
Is it the debouncer? Debouncer's maybe taking a while.
Yeah, there we go. So it's working. So let's go handle some of this other stuff. So we've got let's go back to our components here. So let's handle the list. In the list details, the first thing we need to handle is this right here, this async task vanity URL is taken.
Can we get Copilot to do some of this grunt work for us? Like just select it and say use HTTP container.
Yeah, let me see. Let me see for a minute, just so I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. Let's see if it knows. So let's like comment some of this stuff out and.
Hey, Sean.
Let's see if it. This first of all.
Oh yeah, you need the container. Cool.
It doesn't know.
Well, yeah, give it. Okay.
Wait.
Yeah, but you got to spell response right.
No. Get async.
That's right.
It's kind of right.
Oh, yeah, it needs to type.
All right. Oh, and then we need to pass. Yeah.
Yeah, and you misspelled response too at the beginning of line 93.
Wait, is it a get? It's a post. It's not a get. It's a post. It's a post. I misspelled response. Oh, I did.
Oh. You know, I can see though. I'm not sure why we made that a. That could have been a get because it's a simple string that we're passing.
No, because we have to post. Yeah, it is. It is a simple string. Why are we posting the entire link bundle to see if the vanity is?
I think we wrote this.
We're not.
I think we wrote this early on when our API was halfway working.
No, it is a get. It is a get. It is a get async. And
good.
It has a type. It doesn't really even need a type, but whatever.
No.
Yeah, that's all it is. And the rest of it, I think, is pretty much exactly right. Right? Like, you look at the status code. Basically, all we're looking for is an OK.
Yeah.
And we know that validation failed. Yeah. And then the publish is where it gets a little different. And let's see if it can do this. HTTP container post async. Yes, that's exactly what I needed.
Beautiful.
Awesome. And then the only thing we want to change here is, see, we don't have to do any of this anymore. This is why this is so great. Chat, if you don't like my solution, then I need to know why, because I feel real good about it. It's like the only code I've ever written where I'm like, you know what? It's not terrible. Now, so what's great about this is that it's a link bundle, right? So we can just pass the response and assign it back. The only thing that's confusing here is that, like, if you're looking at this, you're like, how?
Right. Well, yeah, but I mean, you can go look at HTTP container. Yeah.
I think the rest of it stays the same. If the link bundle's null, it does. Line break. Cool. We're done there. We just need to test this.
Is that all the HTTP calls we're doing?
No. We have one more to do, but this is the one that we can test up in the head. So did that work? That worked. So here. So now we'll just do. Let's see. Yeah, do you see the little blink there?
You know, it's interesting. Okay. Is it supposed to bump down like that?
No, it's not. We need to fix that. It's a layout issue.
It does draw some attention to it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. And then we need to do it in new link, and then we'll test the publish. Okay. So new link here. I love taking out this. Then I don't know how much of this I actually need. See what Copilot says. HTTP container, nope. Post async. What are we posting? What are we in? Oh, we're in new link.
Yeah, we're posting the link bundle.
Yeah, it's a link. Right, because this is where we're calling your.
Oh, this is where the open graph thing happens.
Yeah. This is out. We don't need this. You don't need any. Actually,
you do need that. Well, no, you need the link. It's so you need to change line 42 from response content to data.
Yes, but for some reason, I wrapped all this in a try catch, and I don't know why. So if response, the response will never be null. We'll never get a null response here.
Yeah, because I
actually don't know what will happen. So we need to fix this. Anyway, and then we just pass here. You just pass. You're updated.
You know, I think it needs to be question mark dot.
It does. I don't like that. Wait,
actually, no, that's not good because it. Yeah, that's getting worse.
Like this, we'll fix it at some point. So now, oh, did you see it? Oh no.
Oh, by the way,
reload got us.
Yeah. We do need to look at that open graph. We made some fixes on this behind the scenes too. I want to show this off.
I mean,
that's pretty good. Did you pull in the? Does this have?
There's the description is not being displayed. I think I'm doing the description wrong.
I think you are too.
We need to fix that. Where is that? That's in the bundle item editable. Text area, new link dot description. Why isn't it showing? Is it because there is no description?
No, these have, some of those have, I know they have descriptions because I was messing with Open Graph on this.
See. Yeah, there's the description. What's going on?
Is the binding something spelled? Oh, is it the URL casing thing? Do you have the
no, the casing matches here. See, it's something. Is this where is bundle item? I can't. I can't remember where this is even being done. This is on the.
Make me dizzy.
This is the edit page, right? So, bundle item editable. All right, this is where we are in this project. Is that we can't keep up. New link dot description. I mean, everything else is working. New link title. What? It's editable. Enter a description. Class. Hold on.
You didn't save the file.
I know, but I didn't change anything. Technically, what is this bundle item? I fixed this already once. So I know it is fixable, but I must not have done it in this. Did I do it in this? Batch of changes, progress by progress.
Jimmy is asking about Blue Sky, but I don't think Blue Sky is implemented. Like that's not available for Easy Auth yet.
Nah.
And you know.
So why won't that update? Everything else is updating.
So you said you had to fix this once?
I did have to fix it once, and I don't remember what I did.
Can we? Is there somewhere we could console write it out?
It's a text area. This is it, right?
Yeah. Oh, Is that maybe why? Because it's a text area and you have to, is binding different for a text area?
Oh, yes. Yes, that's exactly why. It's like this. Right?
Yeah.
Value. Is it value? It's value. No. Yeah, it's value.
It is value.
Oh, good catch, man.
That's it.
Yeah, so now we're getting it. Now we got it. Of course, these will all be gone now.
So Open Graph will show, Janiscu. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
No, come on now.
There's no description. I guarantee you. Look, watch this.
Boom. Okay. Twitter also doesn't have a description. Do Facebook.
No description.
Facebook has a description.
Facebook does. Yeah.
Yeah. I know everybody's Open Graph now. I spent way too much time on this lately.
This is silly. Look at this. There's just no description. I mean, there is we need to figure out where the description is if it's not.
So
in that
can you
field.
open up in the API project? Can you open up the? Yeah. See. Open up the Open Graph project, Open Graph API, because we did some work on this over the weekend because we're dorks. Look at this. Okay, so we've got, scroll down a bit. You had to set that request header because a bunch of them don't, you have to have a request header or they ignore you.
They just say you need to use a modern browser. The response is literally a text that says use a modern browser.
so I updated this after testing with we tested with Twitter, Google, Facebook, all these different ones, and then scroll down a bit more. And this is the thing, and I think this could even be improved more. But so after this was trial and error, and this is. If they have a site, if they don't have a title, then use Open Graph title. If they don't have that, use Open Graph site name. And then for the images, I'm actually kind of proud of that. This is horrible. Good. Right? So first we try the Open Graph image, and then we try the Apple Touch icon, the mask icon, and the shortcut icon.
So I'm curious though, for Google.
So we'll basically always at least get an image now. So this is kind of better than.
What's Google sending?
Google does not have a description because they're being jerks.
There's no description. There's nothing that describes.
Look in the OG.
Here's their image.
I think they're just view source.
Oh, just view source.
But then
I haven't viewed source in so long. How do you view source?
Are you in Chrome?
No, this is Edge. Save image, copy image, edit image, search the web, visual search, add to collection, share, web capture, inspect.
Oh, it's because your close your DevTools. Because this makes no sense.
That is terrible. Now I can't read it. Now it's unreadable. Like, what is this?
The modern web dev.
So then what I was doing, image title. There's a nonce in here because why not?
Search for description.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But does it exist after the page gets rendered?
Nope.
Even then it doesn't exist? Here? It's nowhere in here.
I spent some time on this. I went through a bunch of them. Yeah, Sean's asking about a site with redirects. Wait, does it have it?
It doesn't.
Yeah. So then I kind of went down a rabbit hole of like, are there other Open Graph things?
Other properties that might substitute for description?
Yeah, but there isn't really. So then I was kind of like, hey, you've got a text area. You can fill it in yourself. And for anything that you'd actually want, nobody's going to share a link to just Google, right? You're going to share a link to something else more.
Yeah, you're going to share a link to like let's do this right now. Okay.
I have a great example. That'll handle do live.
Yeah, see, that's a lot better. Go ahead.
Try doing live.net. So it's liv dot and then dot. No.
Oh.
The word dot. No, sorry. Live period dot period net.
Like this.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, that one looks really good.
So, and that
Good
followed
image.
redirects. And yeah, so that's showing the icon.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with this because this follows a couple of redirects into, so like, I don't know if it's easy to do, but if you go in a browser, that actually redirects to a page inside of the .NET website, which is actually .NET.microsoft.com. So yeah, okay.
So we need to just test out.
Oh. So this is actually, for maybe the first time, this is better functionality now that compared to the live site.
Boom. There it is. Now our description is not showing up, but
okay. And question, way down at the
Burke's
bottom of the page, it's, oh, you did a thing. See at the very bottom of the page, it says not found.
Yes, that's because we haven't implemented the not found logic.
Okay.
So yeah, so like if I come in here and do this, it's like, I don't know. See, it just errors. Right? We have to put this on our board.
That seems like something we could do pretty quick.
What? Fix that?
Fix not found.
Well, we could just hide it for the time being.
Done.
All right, hold on. Let's go to the public page, and it's right here. This is where we're supposed to handle if if bundle.links.count is greater than 0. No, it's supposed to be if it is 0. Then, right?
I would do greater than or equal to. I'm always scared of a negative number.
This isn't like I have a different greater than. No, it is 0. It needs to be if it is 0.
Okay.
Or less than or equal to 0.
That's what I'm saying.
And then it's still going to error though, because we're not handling. Oh, we're not doing it here. Hold on. We missed it.
Oh my goodness. See this? We weren't done. Am I being a goof? Help
I'm hungry. I want to eat lunch.
Uh-oh.
You won't let me leave.
Nope.
Link
Fix your code before you get to eat.
Container dot
get async.
Get async of type what? Of type link bundle.
You can delete up to the rest of the line. It'll fill it in for you.
Yeah. Or a new what? Operator cannot be applied to container. Oh, that's sorry. This is a response. So you go boom, boom. So what we want to do is say var response equals and then link bundle equals
okay,
response.
That's a pretty funny exchange here.
Response.data.
There's a question to Sean. Does some work? Sean says, I rarely program anymore. And then now we're going to update his name. Rarely code with Sean. I like it. I'm sorry.
It's good. No, I like that.
Yeah.
Make sure it didn't have oh, it's still building. And then also like that delete button shouldn't be showing.
Yeah, if you don't have a thing.
Yeah.
If there's nothing to delete.
Go. It's not there anymore. And if we go to not found, what happens? This list is empty. All right, which is not exactly what we do. We have a better UI.
Yeah, and it shouldn't say delete this list.
No, we need to get rid of that. Watch this. Like this whole thing needs to be cleaned up, dude.
All right.
This whole look at it. It's like, is this editable? Then, because remember we used to use the same list, right. And then we're like, now we're not going to do that anymore.
Can Copilot do it for us?
I wouldn't trust it.
All right.
We could try. I wouldn't trust it. It doesn't know. I mean, we can go through and try to do this real quick. Let's take this out. So the image is right. Link.title. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Here, the image. This is right. This is right. That's all right. All right. Then here, we just don't want any of this, right? Like if it's editable, we're not doing this at all. See ya. We're not doing any of this. See ya. There we go.
Okay.
Now,
that wasn't so bad.
What's the refresh? Did we get a rebuild? Reload. We got to reload.
I got one question though. Why does it have a delete button when it says the list is empty?
Why is there still a delete button there? There shouldn't be a delete button.
Did it actually hot reload? Where's that delete button?
It did. It said it did. Where's the delete? There's no delete.
Because the bundle item is it's below this. I think it's not in this.
Oh, it's in a different spot here. And this is where the QR code is supposed to go, but it actually doesn't exist yet. Like there's just work we got to do. There we go. And like, you don't want to see this, you know, you don't want to share this list is empty.
Well, check out my empty list. Okay.
All right. Are we good?
I think we're good. I mean, do you want to, well, so we have a few things. Yeah, we should probably be good.
Okay.
Let's PR and commit this and all that stuff. And while we're at it, I wanted to show, I did make a PR to update the README if people want it. I'm not done with the PR, but I mean, I'm going to keep tweaking the README, but.
Keep tweaking, John, keep tweaking. I see the updates to the README. Let's get a good add progress bar. This pull request adds a new progress bar component and an HTTP container service to the project. It's used to display a progress bar when there are pending HTTP requests, and the HTTP containers manage and track the number of pending requests. Dude,
that's pretty sweet.
That is pretty right on. I'll take it. Always publish the branch.
I do like that too. It's like, dude, you forgot again.
I know, yeah, I'll tell you. Would you like to stage the changes that you just tried to commit? Please.
Sure.
All right, and so we'll just wait for a build, and then pending a good build, we'll.
Okay, while it's waiting, while it's doing that, check out the other. Oh, you're hungry, but check out the other pull requests. I do want to just.
Okay. All right, hold on. Where's the GitHub? There we go. Get me out. How do I get out of this? I don't want to look at this. I want to look at my changes. No. What? Show me all pull requests. How do I?
I don't know.
Is it what? What?
Maybe it's like,
maybe
hey,
if I go back to main. There we go.
Oh, interesting.
Our branch. No, that's actions. What is this? That's actions? Where's GitHub? Yo. Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. Updates to README. Okay. So you did, what'd you do? What'd you do, John?
I deleted the junk and then I put in what it is. And I linked to the blog post and I.
That blog post is so old.
Yeah, but you know.
I can't scroll here for some reason.
It's just, I still need to put in some stuff about like what environment variables are required and that sort of stuff.
So, all right, we're done for this week. I don't know. I guess what's next week? Next week is, I could stream next week.
Like, I'm not going to be in next week. I'm doing family stuff. I'm sorry, but I'm just out.
It's all right, man. You got to set boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Boundaries are important, especially when dealing with me.
I mean, to be honest, we'll probably be hacking on it during this time, but Friday.
I work on it constantly. I can't stop. I'm obsessed. Let's see if we got a good build. No, we're still building.
Still building. Okay.
Let's look at our board real quick before we jump off here. Yeah. So global HTTP handling is done. Man, dishes are done. API needs to work with user accounts. API to pull open graph data. Yo.
Done. I think that my links page needs to move up the list of up next.
My links. This is actually ridiculously easy.
Okay.
Investigate static open graph content pre-rendering. Pre-rendering.
Yeah,
Is this like the static public page that I did?
Yeah, some of that stuff.
Okay, cool. All right, John.
Cool. All right. Great success.
Chat.
Well,
see you.
Yeah, see you after holidays. So see you in a few weeks.
Have a happy Christmas, everybody, if you celebrate.
Right. I guess I will find some music. I don't have Christmas music to play us out. I don't have holiday music. I have I need to add some music in here, actually. Maybe that's what I'll do in the future. We're going to go out with dance pop, I guess.
Dance pop. All right, let's do it.
All right.